What's up, guys? We're here for episode 3 of the Go Home Show. I'm Jeremy Timmerman, admin over at Top Rope, the wrestling group on Facebook. So find us over there. I'm going to try a little bit different format. I'm just kind of experimenting with what to do with this show. As you know, it's the Go Home Show because I am going home from work. It is October 11th, I think is the date. The important thing is, it is the Wednesday after Hell in a Cell. Excellent pay-per-view. I thought it could have been a lot better. I thought that the first probably 2 hours or so was really, really good. And then the WWE Championship match just kind of put me to sleep. Jinder Mahal has still yet to add anything to his repertoire. It's a lot of rest holds. That's just what it is. I'm not normally one of those guys, and this is going to be my big takeaway. I'm going to try to do one big takeaway from all 3 shows this week. And I think my big takeaway... No, you know what? I'm not going to make that my big takeaway. That's just going to be my brief note about the overall pace of the show, was that match really killed a lot of momentum that the show had. But the big takeaway is how freaking phenomenal the tag team title match was. WWE has done a really interesting thing over the last little bit, and it hasn't always been this way, but they've slowly started putting... I remember there was a point where we would be like, oh man, they're making this match open the show? This is going to be a great match, and they're making them open the show? That sucks. But now they've really done that every pay-per-view for a while now, where the first match is a heavy hitter. And I don't know when they started that switch. I could go back and find it, but I just feel like, and this was a perfect example of it, how we knew that the tag team Hell in a Cell match between the New Day and the Usos was gonna be one of the better matches of the show, if not the best match. It turned out to be the best match, and they opened up with it, and those guys brought it from the first moment of the match. It was red hot. It was just a great match. They did some spots that I haven't seen before. Mainly the one of them, for instance, the spot where they put one of the Usos, I think it was Jay, in the corner, strapped him in with kendo sticks. My one complaint about that match, the only complaint, and it's a small one, right? I mean, I'm not like, I don't want anybody to think that like I'm nitpicking this match, but my one small complaint about that match is they didn't make him escaping from that a big enough deal. I don't know if we put it on the cameraman. I don't know if we put it on the producer that was switching the cameras. I don't know if maybe they just didn't script the match, that part of the match, quite well enough to where I would have liked to see them get into the ring, hit some kind of finisher, or even on the side. They could have, well, no, that one wasn't Falls Count Anywhere, but maybe they get into the ring, hit some kind of finisher combo, or hit something, and you see Jay struggling to get out of the kendo sticks to get in and kind of save his brother. That would have been the one spot, but they did that different. The Uranagi from Big E down to the backstabber on Xavier on the side area there, that was awesome. Kudos to Xavier, man. I mean, the guy. I mean, when we started this group about 2.5 years ago, Tony Moran more than anybody hated Xavier Woods, but we were all kind of like, Xavier kind of sucks. Like we respected that he what he was in the business, that he really, really tried, but he didn't bring anything special. And I don't think he's exaggerating when he says he knows for a fact he was not going to be with the company much longer when they kind of got New Day going. But man, he put on a show in this match. Just character work and really selling the brutality of the match and bringing some offense. Just a great effort by all of them. All 4 of them that were in the match, plus Kofi on the outside, but especially obviously the 4 guys in the match, just did an incredible job of, I don't remember if it was said on the, I doubt it was said on the show, but one of the guys I was watching with definitely said it, that they set a bar, because we've kind of, we've seen, there have been some good extreme matches in the PG era. Bray and Roman put on a great Hell in a Cell match a couple years ago. Dean Ambrose and Kevin Owens did a great, I think it was a last man standing match. It was some kind of extreme match at Royal Rumble a couple years ago for the Intercontinental Championship, and that match was really good. But sometimes we've tended to kind of put an asterisk on it. Well, that was great, for this era, because they don't do a lot of intentional blood. They kind of dumb down some of the violence. But those guys in the PG era put on a phenomenal Hell in a Cell match that was as good as any match period. That feud, not too long ago we were talking about Braun and Roman being the hands down feud of the year in WWE. Well, to me, those four have put in the work to put it over the top, that they're the feud of the year. I would say that that's match of the year now. Obviously Cena and Styles at Royal Rumble was great. We've had some other contenders that I would have to go back and kind of look over the cards to see what else is in there. But those four, that's my match of the year right now, and it's not particularly close. I know there's some recency bias there, but generally there's a time where you would say, well, I mean, if they got the no DQ rules, if they got the weapons rules, like, they're at an advantage. But in this era, that almost puts you at a disadvantage, because it's hard to match like a normal match like Cena Styles was in hardcore rules with the restrictions. But those guys, they did it. I mean, just no complaints. So that's my main takeaway from Hell in a Cell 2017, is how great those four did, particularly since this isn't a fresh feud. Those guys have been feuding off and on for like 3 years now, at least 2. And they found a way to bring a new angle to it with the fact that they've switched sides, with the Usos being heel and the New Day being face. But man, just wow, kudos to those guys. So that kicks us forward to Monday Night Raw. My big takeaway from Monday Night Raw is I was a little wrong about the Shield reunion. Now, don't get me, I kind of see what they're doing with it now in a different light, and I like it. So they've put together this squad. Now, I don't like that they just kind of, they took some writing liberties to get there. Cesaro had no reason to bring Roman into this fight, but they did. Once they did, and the Shield's back together, what they've done is they've created a team in now some combination of Miz, The Bar is their actual name, and Strowman. I still wouldn't rule out that the Miz gets hurt, that in some point between now and TLC, the Miz ends up hurt and can't go for that match. And so it ends up being just The Bar versus The Bar and Strowman versus the Shield, which is what I had heard was the plan all along. But even still, any combination of that, it's a formidable enough opponent that you would need all 3 Shield members to beat it, right? Because I gotta say, I was like, Miz Taraj, that kind of sucks that, the Shield would come back for Bo Dallas and Curtis Axel. That's kind of lame. But they've built this team that's strong enough that, yeah, you need all 3 Shield members to beat those guys. But they don't have any cohesion. They have no experience together. So you can have the Shield decisively win this feud. Without really hurting the other guys. Braun, I mean, you can just have him straight leave in the middle of the match. Like, maybe not in a chicken heel way, but just kind of, you wouldn't have him leave. I think what you'd probably have is that, like, he doesn't really want to listen to what Cesaro has to say and ends up getting a triple power bomb that ends up losing them the match. And then that can lead you to putting together for the first time, or either put some form of the Wyatts back together, which is going to be hard to do now that the Eric Rowan, Luke Harper, Bludgeon Brothers Vignette debuted on SmackDown. I like those two together. I don't like that what I think is that gimmick, but we'll see. But either some combination of the Wyatts or the Club. You could definitely put Finn and Gallows and Anderson together for a real challenge for Survivor Series. That, I think, is where we're headed. And so you get that first feud that makes sense. You're not you've got that first the feud that the Shield can just outright decisively win against this cobbled together group of talent, real talent. And then you have a real team. The Club, while they haven't been together in WWE, they've been together in Japan for years. You could play that up. Even I don't know how long Finn Balor and Gallows and Anderson were actually together, but you can play it up that they were together forever because it's WWE. These guys have chemistry. They could get some wins over the Shield guys in different combinations, and they could even win a pay-per-view match, and you could go more than one pay-per-view or whatever. So I think if that's the direction they're going, that a real team comes together to match the Shield, there are so many cool things. And there's even been some hints on Twitter that it could be Sanity. That Sanity could come up to challenge Shield. And that just, your options are wide open there, because maybe Vanity Kane or Killian Dane or whatever that fella's name is, he could just beat Roman Reigns. I don't know how you get there. Maybe you don't want to do that. But you could have, there's all kinds of options. I don't know that you have Killian Dane beat Roman Reigns. That's a bad idea. But anyway, they have not appeared on the main roster, and they don't have a ton of matches against anybody on the main roster to where you're restricted to the booking. You could have Sanity get some really crazy wins over the Shield fellas, and that could be a really cool feud. There's just a lot you can do if you establish that the Shield is they're even bigger than they were before. Which they did some good work with that on Raw. So that brings us to SmackDown. My one big takeaway from SmackDown is that they did the right thing by Baron Corbin. In hindsight, I don't know that Baron Corbin it was the right time for Baron Corbin to cash in and be the WWE champion. Now, that said, once you gave him the briefcase, I think it was a bad move to have him not win his cash in. But there are probably other people that would have been a better choice. Sami Zayn, for instance. AJ Styles probably would have been better. I don't know that. I think Sami Zayn's probably the perfect choice for it, because he's been in the WWE, been on the main roster long enough. We know he can go. He might have been the perfect guy to just kind of have just a run-in, cash-in on Jinder that would have been, the crowd would have been red hot for that. But that said, I don't know that it was the right time for Baron to make him the WWE champion. But this is the right spot for him. And AJ Styles being U.S. champion, while he did a great job with that, I don't think it's the right spot to have him down there in the mid-card title. He's AJ Styles. I think it's the perfect spot for Baron Corbin. And they did right by Baron. Now, I think they could have done better with AJ to kind of sell the rib injury from the night before. I think that's the way I would have gone, that AJ wanted his rematch, Baron gave it to him, and then Baron beat the tar out of him. And AJ's ribs just weren't good. I think that's the way to go. But AJ pointed out something that Greg Bush, one of our admins, pointed out a while back, that Baron's flaw is that he's flawed. Baron's flaw is that he overlooks things and makes mistakes. AJ pointed that out, and then Baron overcame mistakes, avoided big mistakes, and beat AJ. So that's big. I don't know what they're going to do next with him as far as a feud, but that was huge to have him win that U.S. title, take it away from AJ, and send AJ up to the main event picture, which is what I think is coming up next. I don't know what's next for AJ, or for Baron, but I love what they did with him, putting the U.S. title on him and then keeping it there. So that's all I've got. Those are my 3 big things for the week. And until next time, that's the Go Home Show. Thanks.